Dance
This is
floor.
perfect.
There she
Meditation.
is.
If you find stuff sketch around campus, you
Awesome.
get fun fact pop-ups, and you have
Hi all, welcome to the Event Producers Mixer we've put together. I'd like to start by thanking Playa Alchemist for the use of their amazing space for us to gather in. I'd like to thank BRCvr for their inspiration. A lot of the reason why I thought about putting this event together was experiences that I went through then, so thank you very much. Also for our panel of speakers, their tireless work is what really is the lifeblood of what this talk is about. My name is Julian Reyes with Keyframe-Entertainment, and given my inspiration of BRCvr and working 3D animation and festival culture, I wanted to put together an event that answers some of the questions I had and maybe some of the questions world builders here have. And I received a call from Celeste that she wanted to create a mixer at the same time that I was planning mine. So we joined forces and we put this together for the Altspace community, and also to give a huge thanks to the creators and world builders here. Apologies for all the ones that we couldn't invite. In the future, we might host other events for them. I'd like to thank my friend Jens and Carlos who are streaming our event, and also DJ Celeste, who is an accomplished DJ, music performer, VR artist. She will ask the panel to say some background about themselves and answer some questions. And we will unmute everybody when the mixer begins. So I hope you find it informative. Thank you very much. And a big round of emojis for Celeste, Lear, and our panel of speakers.
Hey
Wow.
y'all! All right. Well, if you are here tonight, chances are you believe the term reality is subjective and highly adaptable. Perhaps you are a futurist and a dreamer, building your own unique vision, a vastly artistic, expansive world that the you of 10 years ago would not in your wildest of dreams had imagined was possible. Some of us are introverts and geeks, more comfortable away from crowds, but with a never-ending drive to contribute to the community by harnessing the best innovation and push further the parameters of these amazing, rather mind-blowing technological advancements in VR. Some of us are festival addicts, relentless party animals, and diehard DJs and musicians, resourceful enough to find alternative methods during this incredibly challenging and lonely year of lockdown to stay connected, inspired, to celebrate the good things in life and continue to rage on as only a drunk avatar with surprisingly smooth avatar dance moves can. Wherever you land in this spectrum, and whatever it is that led you here to this event tonight, welcome. We are now all part of this exciting digital tapestry that we get to experiment with and play inside of called AltspaceVR. So 2 years ago, Julian Reyes, a leader in the Bay Area event scene, held a groundbreaking VR industry night at a prestigious nightclub in San Francisco that I attended, and I can say it helped change my life and open my mind and eyes to the exciting world of music, 3D art, and events in VR. Since then, my 2-year path into VR has branched out from my other work, which is real-world events, to opening exciting doors as an avatar DJ, 3D festival, and stage designer and event producer. I approached him with this vision of creating a similar experience, this time in VR, so we could continue the discussion of this exciting and expanding terrain in here. So this mixer and the tech talks was conceptualized as a way to build bonds in our community in Altspace and share knowledge of tech so that our event organizers, world builders, and performers can have a more thorough understanding, better communication, and perhaps inspire expansion of new ideas moving forward into the future. So again, a lot of gratitude to Playa Alchemist for letting us hold our event in this amazing world. It's so beautiful and rich. Big thanks to BRCvr for your tireless work and visionary thinking to elegantly expand that thing in the desert to the multiverse realm, complete with digital dust storms, long lines of RVs at the front gate, and art cars. So creative and playful, you guys. Seriously, I personally called it my 10th year for good reason, because this year counts. So at this point, we want to ask all of our speakers to introduce themselves and share a few minutes about your history and inspiration of your work.
My name is Artsy, and I am a digital illustrator and VR world builder. I primarily build all of my worlds in Unity and in Blender. And my goal, since I've been in Altspace, is to create a wide range of cultural experiences that transport you from a real world to an imaginary world, but also brings you back to something you're familiar to. I have always loved VR. Like, I've had 3 different headsets, and being able to come into Altspace really just heightened my creativity. I used to play The Sims since I was like 13 years old, and for me, coming into Altspace is like playing Sims all over again, but this time I actually get to play with real people, and get to take people on these journeys and these excursions. So in here I have an art gallery. Well, I actually have 3 art galleries. I have luxury experiences like yachts and ski lodges and various amounts of clubs and venues that people can enjoy. I also participated in BRCvr and made 4 worlds that was bringing the Black culture into this space.
Thanks.
First, I want to say thank you, Artsy, because the worlds that you created in BRCvr were, I love them. The Solar Shrine and the Solar Shrine was mind blowing. And you also did the Black Burner project, right? That one was really good. I love how you showcased Aaron's photography, and I'm supposed to be introducing myself. Hi, everyone. I am Athena, with one of the co-founders and producers of BRCvr, and I'm new to VR. I came into VR in April when this project fell into my lap because of the pandemic, and have had the best time with the most amazing team, several of which are in the audience right now and on this stage. And couldn't have done it without everyone and without teaching a lot of people the technology. Like, as I was learning, other people were learning too. And I am sold. I love this. I mean, I as well have, I have 2 headsets with me, and I have a 3rd one that will reach me fairly soon. And I have 1 head, and I have 3 headsets. But my background is that I'm a community organizer for Burning Man, and I also produce content for television and movies and stuff like that, and I'm an actress. So that's just a little bit about me. Cause?
Actress, whoa, cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's a whole
God,
There's a
damn.
whole
thing you don't even know about yet.
I got a
First of
Target
all,
commercial
I'd
all
like to
over
start
the
by thanking
television.
Artsy. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks, Artsy. What's up, everybody? My name is Cause, and I am also new to VR. In fact, I've only been in Altspace for probably about 7 months, and of that, only about 4 months of that have been in virtual reality. I started on my PC because, like most of you, when the pandemic started, I had nothing to do. I got furloughed from work. I was sitting at home, and my amazing partner, Christy, right there, she introduced me to Altspace because she had been coming here for meetings for her university's meetups and everything. And so I came in here, and being a burner, I had actually had the thought myself, I want to create a virtual burn. Now, I didn't think about virtual reality. I was more about video game, first-person kind of thing. But I started learning Unity and Blender at the same time, honestly, just 7 months ago for this very purpose. And it's been a wild ride, to be honest. I came in here, I made the Flying Saucer nightclub, which turned out to be kind of a hit. People enjoyed it. We've thrown some live events there. We've had great parties, and like, wow, thanks guys. And then I met up with like Justin Gunn came into my camp, and I'm sure you've all met him, and he's amazing.
back
And he
there.
came in. Yeah, is he?
Yeah, he's
Well,
back
he's
there.
back there.
What?
He's low
Oh, hey,
poly, but
bud.
he's back there.
Yay! Dude, I love that guy. That guy's amazing. So anyway, I can hear him through someone's speaker. He's near one of you. Anyway,
Yeah.
he came in, saw the thing. We were chatting. I said I'm a burner. It was like, what? Serendipity happens. So then I created the burning saucer because I'm a burner and I wanted to set my club on fire, So I did. And it turned out to be awesome and fun. And I've been just meeting a lot of cool people. And honestly, that about sums up where I am at this moment. Right after BRCvr, which I helped with because I met these guys and I happened to know what was going on in Altspace a little bit. So I became the guy to go to. But luckily, burners learned things and helped disseminate information. So very quickly, we taught a bunch of people. They taught a bunch of people. Suddenly, there's a whole lot of people who know what's going on. And suddenly, the worlds are getting a little more interesting and trippy and classy here. And I'm enjoying it. And yeah, that's where I am. Welcome.
So great. Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Doug Jacobson, and yes, my turn. My background is I work in LA. I work in the LA film community. I went to film school. I have a cinema background. I shoot, edit, all that stuff for a long time, and also been a burner since 1998. I've known Athena since 2000, and running theme camps. My camp is the Black Rock Yearbook, which has got a world in here. If you guys have a chance to go check it out, and what happened was I've been shooting in a lot of 180, 3D, and VR formats. Started getting more and more into VR. COVID hit, and I wanted to have my birthday party, and I was trying to find a place to do it, and I chose Altspace, not randomly, but chose it. And then Greg had his old Burning Man world. We put it in there, and we were like, hey, this is cool. So we started working on it, and it just snowballed. And then Justin came in, and we met Cause, and Athena came, and it just was a bullet train from that one moment. So I've only been in Altspace since probably February or March. So it's been a pretty wild ride, and we've had a really great time throwing events, designing spaces that tell a story. Which is part of what which Cause is really good at, and a lot of world builders.
Aww.
So that's me. You're up.
Hi everybody, my name is Illuminatty. I've been in VR for about 3 years now, and actually Altspace was one of the first apps that I ever joined, and it kind of just blew my mind because I was able to ask people about the VR headsets that they had before I had one, because it was Mac capable way back when. And so I fell in love with the idea of being in VR, and my background is in art, and I wanted to learn how to sculpt. So I bought a VR headset and a computer for just that purpose, and I started doing that for about a year. Sculpting in VR, Oculus Medium, Tilt Brush, Gravity Sketch, and then I found TribeXR, which is a DJ program that I use to DJ in VR. It's modeled after a real DJ setup, so after 6 months of doing that, I learned how to DJ on a real setup, and it was really easy because Tribe is really, really similar. And after 6 months of that, I DJ'd in a real life club in San Francisco using TribeXR, and I thought, a few months later, why not just bring it to Altspace and see, what kind of party we can have. And it seems like Altspace is a great way for people with all kinds of headsets to come in. So that started in January of this year, and we've been doing events every Thursday ever since. And we have a whole team that puts it together and makes it a interactive experience where you can see yourself on the screen, you can see other people in other worlds, and I'll get into that later. But yeah, that's basically, and then a few other things is that I'm a resident DJ in WaveXR, which I helped with their Empyrean Temple event this year, and I was also a member of the build team for the VR Burn last year. in WaveXR, and yeah, I think that's about it.
Nice.
Hey everyone, my name's Kirill, and I was part of the IDEATE camp build. And my background, I used to be an event organizer. Events aren't really a thing anymore, so wasn't really sure what to do with myself. And yeah, a friend of mine, posted on Facebook saying, hey, our Burning Man camp is looking to do a digital speaker series. And I said, all right, I'm not doing anything. Might as well try to do some digital events. And I joined, we started doing that. And then I heard about this, virtual Burning Man thing. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And it sounded really interesting. And it looked like no one was really, we had like a build team of artists and people who are actually creating the space. But I was like, well, what are we doing in this space? Like, who are we building this for? And, crickets chirping. And I said, all right, well, I'll program manage this thing. It kind of feels like a fun event. And yeah, fast forward to, the day of the burn, where we had, over 30 different artists that submitted pre-recorded things. We had, dozens of events, including live streamed events from Reno, from this crazy art space that we had. And, from all like the work and like the madness that went down, one of the members of the team was like, this kind of counts as your Burning Man. Like, you've been working your ass off, everything's breaking. Like, yeah, this counts. So it was a really fun experience. It was my first time really playing in Altspace, or any VR platform for that matter. I learned a ton, and yeah, really excited to dive into a little bit more of that shortly.
Hey everyone, I'm Sterling. How's it going? I did the Decadent Oasis world, but I don't know. Has everyone seen? Remember Lawnmower Man? I remember seeing that in 1992 and wanting to do VR, and it couldn't be found anywhere.
Nice.
And it took years until I could even get a headset on. And all of a sudden, thank goodness I was in college, where like I was up until 8 a.m. troubleshooting stuff. It was all of a sudden like even more so. But that was 18 years ago, and it's been a long gestation since this started in the 70s. But the last 4 years have been really amazing. Everyone always wants to say the technology is dead. It's just a very slow build. But like what Altspace has been doing recently, and what BRCvr did, it's really coming to an amazing point. I just want to say, I originally started, in 2002 doing VR, but you can't get a headset. So after college, it was nothing until the Vive came around, and now finally the Oculus. And I was actually unaware of the BRCvr project until I went to Cause's spaceship over there. A friend was playing there, and I was familiar with Altspace. Went over there, ended up talking to Cause, and he told me all about this BRCvr project. And by the next day, I was jumping in the Discord, and I gotta say, it was, people say it was like a legit burn. From the build side, it feels like a legit burn too, because just being in that, being in that Discord group, and all of us just dealing, figuring out the different hacks, or like, hey, how do you do this? Or hey, I found a good way to do this. Or sharing art assets, or here's a good HDRI, here's a good sound. I mean, it was this crazy ad hoc, compulsively creative, just frantic movement where we all were just building like mad, and things were breaking and things were fixing, and it felt like the burn. I mean, it felt like build week in a really weird way. And it was just kind of amazing how it all fell together, because I just realized that I didn't realize how capable Altspace was for basically building into it. I was just previously messing with some Unity stuff on my own on the side. And then, after talking to Cause, all of a sudden, just like, I want to build something. Ended up making my camp, and then next thing I know, we're throwing events in it, and, people are coming and hanging out, and, it felt kind of like the burn. So I just gotta say, like, it's neat to see that VR has finally come to this. It still has a long way to go. I mean, where we're going to go with AR, hand recognition, just things with being able to use object detection to use, reality and map virtual reality onto real reality, telepresence. I mean, it's going to be so cool. But this was a
It's not
really
cool
great
yet.
experience in
This is
2020. The pandemic did
This is
not hurt
lame.
that, but man, it was a shot in the arm, and you know,
Just
I'm
wait.
just glad that we're all here doing this now.
I
So,
love Decadent
thanks
Oasis.
for
It's
igniting
a
the spark.
Yeah.
fun place.
Yeah,
Decadent
I'm glad,
Oasis is a lot
thank
of
you.
fun.
I'm glad.
Totally.
I hung out with you up on the spaceship you got there.
Yeah. Nice little viewing platform.
Yeah.
Yes, sounds good. So, Artsy, can you please share with the audience more about the Solar Shrine and your inspiration and creative process, and also any advice you have for aspiring world builders, please?
Absolutely. So when Rachel from BRCvr contacted me about helping Antoine Lee and Fran about creating the environment for Solar Shrine, I was really excited. So I jumped on a call with Antoine, and he told me a little bit about Solar Shrine. And there was just something so amazing about the reason behind why he built Solar Shrine. Antoine is the architect of Solar Shrine, and he wanted to put it in the inner cities of Chicago to inspire and uplift the community. Um, and so a community of burners actually came to him and, let him know that it was something that, should be built at Burning Man. And so when I saw the actual website for Solar Shrine, I was just like, wow, there's so much Afrofuturistic, but like ancient Egyptian vibes to this, sculpture that he's going to make. And so I immediately went into the mode of thinking like total Wakanda, right? The Black Panther really changed our culture and really uplifted us. And I really wanted to have that same sense of expansion and creativity and just like something that people would look at in awe and just couldn't believe that that was something that they were standing inside of. And so when I built the environment, I just wanted it to be huge. Like I just wanted you to walk into the space and just go, wow. Like I'm on a totally different planet right now where like I just walked into the future of Africa, and that's what I did. I found ruins from Sketchfab, and so they were actually shaped like musical notes, and so I scaled them up super huge in Unity. And then the sound stage, or the dance floor stage, where the DJ booth would go, was just a platform with stairs and big pillars, and I put fire on top of those. And so it was like giving you the view of seeing the Solar Shrine in all of its glory, and then you turn to the side and you see this big, uh, big platform, and you don't even know what's up there at first, but you go up there and then you see there's a dance floor, and there's a bar, and there's a DJ booth, and then there's DJ Celeste right there on screen just performing, which was absolutely amazing. And Antoine also and Fran wanted a space for people to do yoga and to meditate. And so off to the side, I have big Egyptian sculptures. But yeah, Solar Shrine, like the project, was just amazing. I was just so grateful to be a part of BRCvr and all of the amazing world builders there. My advice for aspiring world builders who want to build worlds in Unity would be to think outside of the box, but also in a way that connects people back to something they're familiar with. So like with the Solar Shrine, it's something you've never seen, probably with your eyes, but like you go up to the platform where the dance floor is and you're like, oh wow, this looks familiar to me. This is, something I've been to before, like a nightclub or something. So it's just kind of merging those two experiences, something that's new and extraordinary with something that's familiar. It connects us back to what we know.
Hey, hi everyone. What VR event would be complete without some technical difficulties? Plus, I had to go get a cocktail. So Just kidding. Artsy,
Consider it a technical difficulty.
Artsy, I can see you now and I can hear you. So
Hey.
thank you. So let's see, we just did what advice would you give to aspiring world builders? Was that the last one? Awesome. Any more else that you would like to add?
I think that's for the first question, yeah.
Oh, are we on the first question?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Because as you know, I spontaneously combusted, but I'm back. So, okay, so the next question for Artsy, now that I can see you and hear you, is what other worlds are you working on that you are excited about? I guess one of them was BRCvr confidence with Artsy. Maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so BRCvr Color Confidence was my contribution as an artist, woman of color, to the BRCvr experience in Burning Man. So it's a world that I built that's filled with affirmations and my art, and a sculpture that I made in Blender that you can fly around that has affirmations on the hearts. So it's just helping you connect with yourself and a way to be kind with yourself. And it's something that I've never experienced in real life, so I wanted to create something that was totally different in there. But a bunch of, I'm creating like 3 to 4 worlds a week right now. I'm a full-time artist, so I have a lot of time to dedicate towards it, but I'm actually a founder on a team. Like, I have a team of people that I work with, and we created a company in here called MetaCultureVR. And so we're bringing cultural experiences to Altspace. And so I'm helping them build a, huge series of worlds for us to make, happen for the events that we're going to be throwing. So a lot of, event venues that we'll be working on. But I'm also creating a new world right now where I'm merging the information that I've learned using Blender. And so I'll be making something very ethereal with sculptures, and it's going to be pretty great.
Artsy is so prolific, and I know I'm not alone when I say that we're blown away by the work that you contribute to this community. I guess what other advice would you give to aspiring world builders about creating optimized event spaces based on what you have experienced with the Solar Shrine and any other events that you have put on?
I think so, just like in the real world, when you're getting ready to throw an event somewhere, you're going and you're browsing for the perfect venue, right? And this venue, has to be easily accessible. It has to be relevant to the type of event that you're wanting to throw. And in VR, like, you want it to be very intriguing, even things that are, like small venues are really good, as long as everybody in there is having a great time. And that could be like really bright walls, or like really cool sound system, in there, like lights, like strobe lights. Like, I'll put strobe lights anywhere.
She put in a wicked good light show for the Solar Sign, and a giant onk behind the DJ booth.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would just really focus on, like, within Unity, making sure that your textures are reduced and optimized, so that, like, the textures really stretch, the size of your worlds, and so you have a little leeway in here to reduce the file sizes of those. I'd also say, joining as many of the game objects that you have into one, to reduce the draw calls when people are actually in the game. And if you can figure out light baking, which has driven me crazy for months, I would definitely recommend baking your light, because you can build a perfect space, and then the lighting just, like, kills everybody's eyes, or it just makes everything look extremely flat. So it took me months to learn it, but now that I've learned it, I won't be going back whatsoever.
Okay. Well, some of us like getting baked. So this. Oh, did I say that? Well, good information,
Time
Artsy.
to get light
Thank you so much for sharing. Again, we really
Heavy
appreciate the work.
baking, not light baking.
And we're going to move on now to our next contestant, which is Athena. So Athena.
Oh,
Get a
okay.
light
yeah.
song, watch it, walk on the beach.
I think that washing machine is at least $1,200. Oh, wait, wrong
Oh,
show.
I'm sorry. The
Right.
retail price is
Price.
$10.95. You've been over.
We got a really good game show voice. Okay, well, back on track here. So Athena, BRCvr was a monumental, incredibly challenging, and overall incredibly successful endeavor. Can you please share an overview of the project and any important lessons learned for you and your team?
No one can do it alone. That is just like the biggest lesson. We needed the team. We needed the community. I mean, as much as I'd like to say the team built BRCvr, the team basically relayed tools, and the community built BRCvr. I am a true believer of communal effort, one of the principles, and this was truly a communal effort. And I commend everyone for taking on the technology and learning it in a short period of time, and some people in a longer period of time. But the technology is always changing, and we are always learning, which makes it really interesting.
Yeah.
Sure does.
So what are some other ways that aspiring world builders can rally their friends to join and participate in their community building efforts?
I think it's utilized the same as we do at Burning Man. Utilize your, theme camp, your world, to bring your community together with you. And you can do that by having talks and events and yoga, and we all know someone who's an expert in something. So provide a space for that expert to relay their knowledge. It's just another venue for knowledge share. And we all love dancing. So do a knowledge share, and then let's dance. Yeah. Let's do some yoga and then a static dance.
Yes.
It's just, you just need a common reason for people to come together. We want to come together. We have that desire and that instinct that we need to be together. This whole social distancing thing, I keep on saying this, that's a misnomer. We shouldn't be social distancing. That's not what prevents the virus from spreading. Physical distancing prevents the virus from spreading.
Yeah.
We need to socialize.
That's a good one.
So we should physical distance, but socialize. And social VR, Altspace, BRCvr gives us that opportunity. So I encourage everyone to organize gatherings in your world, and if you're part of BRCvr, then let us know and we'll put it out to the entire community.
Awesome, really good points. And this leading into this question, which I think it really ties in nicely, and we could really get philosophical about this one too, is how was your BRCvr building community experience similar or different to the live playa burn? It is different working in VR. Our social, the way we react, the way we see each other, the way we communicate, it's different here. So maybe you could delve in a little bit to that topic. And
it was a lot less dusty.
No
I didn't have to wash all my stuff with vinegar and water. Everything was clean when I got home because I never left my living room. And that's how it was different. But how it was the same is it's still the same people. It's still the same radically inclusive, radically self-expressive people. And whether people have never been to Burning Man before or never been in VR before. It didn't matter. As Justin said, we're all VRgens. Love that word.
Man, that's a good one.
That's a good one, right? Justin, man. He's always good for those. So, but everyone came together in communal effort. It's like you guys were talking about the Discord. That Discord was incredible. Someone would type in a question, and sometimes it's as simple as, I can't get my world, I don't know how to, I got my world done, but how do I get it like in Altspace? And it was always like this mythological place that the world ended up flying to miraculously. And it didn't matter how simple the question, like, how do we get the toolkit into Blender? Like, it didn't matter. Everyone answered those questions inclusively. They just wanted you to have the information. They wanted you to be able to create as well as they could. And that's exactly what happens at Burning Man. I see this happening amongst different projects. There's different projects going on. There's different theme camps. There's different art installations. And someone has a question about how this certain truss should get engineered. And this person, this engineer on this other project, it's like, oh, I can help you with that. Sure. Or some welding gear breaks and somebody loans the welding gear. And it's whatever it takes. We're a complete do-ocracy. If you can do, you can decide. And this is just, I found it to be very similar. And in fact, we created a hashtag, This Burn Counts, because it absolutely does. In so many ways, from Burn Week, from Build Week to Burn Week to the whiteout we had, an actual whiteout. Like the playa was just white and the whole thing was missing. It was just trash.
That was nice.
Yeah, that was. We got it back though. So
Zen, a moment of Zen.
There's parallels. There's parallels. It's different, but there's a lot of parallels, and there's enough parallels that it was a compelling experience.
Okay, so seriously, this is so awesome to hear also from the horse's mouth and from the bigwigs at BRCvr, the inner workings, and also the heart and soul behind it. And I think we're going to move on to Cause, but thanks so much for sharing, Athena. So Cause, hey, good to see you, my friend.
Hi.
You are a community center point and a really exceptionally awesome world builder. And I think a lot of us agree, like your avatar, that you look kind of like a real life wizard in real life. So, do you have, it's true. If you've seen pictures of them, it's very true. So do you have any valuable tips and lessons learned from your experience producing and hosting events with BRCvr? And tell us maybe a little bit more about the inspiration behind Burning Saucer.
Yeah, totally. Have patience, because stuff will go wrong, especially in a new place where this new tech, and we all kind of have this sort of mindset of, I know what I'm doing, it's cool, I'm going to get into this. But then you get into this and so many things you didn't even know you don't know come flying at you. And so it's just like, and you get into these moments of, why is this happening? But you got to be able to stand back and realize, just take it easy. You're in a new space, things are happening. A lot of people are working behind the scenes to make sure the mini servers and all the magic that you really have no idea that's going on to make all this happen is happening. And sometimes things break, and it's not your fault. So take a breath, step back, have some patience, and just have fun with it. And I don't know, like have taste. So I say that like, okay, so you can scale yourself back. Learn to edit yourself is the biggest thing, because everybody wants to just throw every idea into one space sometimes. And not only is that not good for performance and things, but sometimes it just takes away from each thing. If there's too much overwhelming, I mean, like a space like this is amazing and gorgeous, but if you look around, everything was carefully thought out. It doesn't look like they just threw stuff in here. Everything is very well planned. So it's, I see a lot of worlds where people have just thrown a lot of stuff in and, it's cool, man. Wow, it's cool. But the overall cohesiveness of it doesn't really mesh. Like, you got to find a theme and kind of stick with it. So the saucer, what's funny about that is it was a really total accident, the whole place. I have another world that I created first called the Wormhole, which is actually, we'll be having a BRCvr party there this Friday. It's a really trippy little space, and in the middle of the earliest version, I had a little plate just floating, and that's where everybody was. And my joke was that's a flying saucer, and then it came to a point where, hey, I should expand that out and kind of make it into a hangout spot with kind of Jetsons style or some kind of dome. I don't know. It was just sort of floating around. So then I just started making the place, and if you've been there, you see what it turned into. It was just. I didn't go into it with a plan. That's the thing. I kind of just started with a big, giant circle, and I said, okay, what am I going to do? And I just kind of brought inward a little bit and made my walls, and I pulled the walls up, and then I made a little dome ceiling. Okay, now I've got a very basic little flying saucer shape. I figured out the big cutout doors, and, I dropped the dance floor down a little, and I started playing, and it was really piecemeal. And, I mean, heck, even just a week ago, I was upgrading the place, just, changing things up. And the burning saucer came from, I already had such a cool space that I had designed, but obviously it's very neon and tech, and I call it Tron Deco style. And it's more Ready Player One meets the Jetsons. It's not so much Burning Man. And so I wanted to
had some wild some anyone in the audience, raise your hand if you've been to the burning saucer or flying saucer. Who of our group here? Yes, okay, a lot of people. Awesome.
I saw Lindsay jumping out there. That's hilarious.
I want to take a little more technical with you about your process. So we also would like to solicit advice to aspiring world builders about Unity or Blender, looking to create Altspace worlds from scratch. So maybe you can tap in a little bit more to the technical aspects or anything that you think people should know about Unity or Blender.
Well, everything I model, I make in Blender because you have way more control over how things are going to look. But Unity is good for obviously the lighting, the shading, the texturing. So when you're building a world, when you're building a world in Blender, make all the materials and everything there so that when you're looking at your Blender file, it looks close to what you want. You're going to do that because you're going to want to change, you're going to have to map things out, UV mapping. You want to make sure, that rug, for instance, you want to make sure the rug looks like a rug and it's not split halfway between two textures on the map, So you do all of that in Blender by setting all your UV maps and putting them where you want. And then when you bring everything over to Unity, all of that is done. You basically just have to drag and drop a material and pop, it's there. It makes it a lot easier. I actually personally don't even know how to get into deep, without Pro Builder in Unity, without, to do any kind of technical end stuff like that. It seems like most of the modeling, if you want to create something, you have to do it in Blender. But if you just want to play with things that are already created, you bring them into Unity. So you create in Blender, play with it in Unity. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and basically, so both things are free. And there is a huge YouTube community out there, man. I'm telling you what, just go watch videos, go watch these tutorials. Right. There's a few guys, you'll find them eventually. There's some really good tutorials out there. I learned everything from watching YouTube, all of it, 100%. I mean,
it's such an incredible reason. Yeah. So let's move on because this is something that we actually just witnessed an instance of instances are affecting people's experience in VR. And we want to kind of tap into that a little bit here and talk to some of these producers and ask, how do you think instances are affecting people's experience in VR and at events in general in here?
Me? Well, I would say it's a double-edged sword. It depends on the event. For something like this where we have a centralized sort of focal point, I think it's great. The audience isn't interacting at the moment. They're looking in one spot. It's great. However, when we stop the stage part and we go down there and start to mingle, then it becomes an issue because we can't get to each other. It almost depends on, you have to plan your events accordingly. You know, is it going to be an event where there's going to be a main focal point all night? Maybe front row is good for you. If you really want it to be more about the interconnectivity between people, maybe not so much. And then you go to the route of trying to design your space to be more efficient so that you can get the event team to raise your cap up, maybe get 45 or 50, 60 people in there.
Can you remind us again what front row entails? Like, what are the details for front row here in
Well, what
Altspace?
Front Row does is takes your event and it splits it into multiple instances, like parallel universes in a way. And so everybody comes in, and when the first one fills up, you got 30, 40, 50 people, you can't get any more, then suddenly another parallel room opens up and people start filling up. But the people in one room cannot see the people in the other room. Currently, everyone can see us because we're on air. We're being broadcasted to all the different rooms. But when we get off the stage, we'll only be in our single first instance, and we'll have to actually jump from room to room to go meet different people and mingle a little bit. One of my suggestions, in case Altspace is listening right now, would be to allow people to create, much like you did with the multimedia console, how you have the little code that you have now. It's so easy to remember. 2 little words, hyphenated, a little code. Let us set up our own private instances at events. So let's say an event like this, I got a big group of friends that want to come. I can create a code or whatever that then give to all my friends, and then we can sort of come into our own little private reserved room of the event, all be together, and not have to worry about constantly flipping around and trying to find each other.
Fascinating.
Nice.
That's a great idea. See, this is some of the insight that I feel like could actually really benefit and move us forward if we start getting it circulating more. And this is still technology. It's a work in progress. It's miraculous in what it is, but it also has so far to go. So, Kaz, awesome. Thank you so much for all of your valuable and wise information here. And we are going to move down the line to Doug. So, Doug, awesome. Welcome. We wanted to start by asking what are BRCvR's plans for producing events in the future?
Well, I think where we're going as an organization is that we're going to start creating an events team to help launch events. So eventually we'll have a crew around to help people do the multimedia console, how to promote their event. If it's an event we're involved with, we'll obviously help promote it. So there's a lot of steps involved in throwing an event. And, we want to co-throw and throw our own events. So we're going to need people around to help out with that element of it. And I think we're going to eventually have our own, people around who all have a knowledge base of how to do that and can be, we had that during the burn. We had a team that was going around helping people. My multimedia console didn't work. My event's not front row, just all kinds of problems. And we were dispatching people and stuff. So I think we're going to build back towards that. And as Athena can tell you, we're also moving into creating mini burns, I guess we could call them, which is going to be grouping. We're going to have for example, Day of the Dead coming up. We're going to put a call out to see if camps all want to get together and make a big event with multiple camps and DJs that is a mini burn. So now we're going to try to facilitate these events at major holidays and things like that. In addition, that we also we tend to throw a Friday night party. Cause has been really helpful with that. This Friday night, we're throwing a party. Everyone's got how many people here have a Quest 2 right now? Well, you're going to want to go in and
We'll be here by Friday.
Right. So we were like, we got to throw a party because we're going to want to try out our Quest 2. We're going to want to dance. So we're going to throw a party at the Wormhole, and I will be DJing actually at this. And so
DJ Doug.
Okay.
I'm really old school.
Teach me how to Dougie.
So anyway.
He can only teach you how to Doug J.
Doug J and not the 11. Anyway, so that's kind of the view of events moving forward with us to create infrastructure to help everybody who is doing BRCvr type events get into it. So there you go.
And if you would like to participate in October,
Yeah,
30th
this is
through
important.
November 2nd. If you would like to participate in the Day of the Dead DCOM, which is October 30th through November 2nd, we just sent out an email. So if you've already programmed for Burn Week, check your inbox, check your spam box, and there's a form there. If you didn't receive that form, I can send you the email. Just email us at info@brcvr.org or Athena@brcvr.org, and I will get all that information to you. We would love to have you participate and Halloween, Day of the Dead, up your world, and bring the community in, and let's have some fun again.
Right, and tell
Yeah,
let's mention the other two
Okay,
mini burns.
we have two others. One is called Gratitude and Gifting Weekend, and that is the weekend of Thanksgiving, and that'll be November 27th through the 29th. And then, and we already have worlds participating in these, so please come. And then we have New Year's weekend. And New Year's is a very long weekend because the 31st is a Thursday, the 1st is a Friday, and then we have the 2nd and the 3rd for Saturday, Sunday. So it's a super long weekend.
Party.
Let's spend it in VR, hanging out with our friends, sharing knowledge, and meeting new people. Yay! So send us an email if you didn't get the email with the form, and I'll make sure you get all the information you need.
Yeah,
Okay, and the first 10 people to respond get a free pony.
Oh, free pony.
Free pony. Pony.
Free sparkle pony.
So get that pony. Huh? Anyway, and hopefully, if you're listening, people, yes, we can make MREs probably. I don't know if we have time of Day of the Dead and like Day of the Dead masks and things like that. Maybe.
Cause is like, No.
Now, Cause here, where did he go? Cause has nothing but time. I see Nick and I hope they're listening.
I just got a message that the BRC airport is in. Yeah.
Okay, wow, that was fast. Things are happening quicker than I even thought.
To get this flight also back on track here, I just have one more question for you, and then we're going to move on to illuminatty. So I just want you to really quickly, maybe you can tell me what advice. Let's see if how this, because I think it's such a fascinating topic, and all the people that are veterans here have a lot to say about it. Is your advice on instances and how instances are affecting people?
I think when you're dealing with instances, and the Friday night party, we Cause and I actually talked a lot about this. We decided not to instance the Friday night party. Maybe we could get 30, 40, 50 people in there. But if you think your party is going to be a 30 to 50 person party, then I wouldn't bother, because you'll have like 4 people alone in their own instance. And then you're like, you feel, then as a party thrower, you're going to feel bad that these 4 people are alone in this instance. For example, right now, I'm looking this up. Right now, we have 3 rooms, and in one of the rooms, there's only 4 people. I don't see where you are, you 4 people, but I'm sad that you're alone in this big hallway. So we for a lot of social events where we're all going to be talking, like he said, it's not a concert where you're watching something on stage. We actually figure it's a 30 to 50 event. We're just never going to deal with the whole making instances. But what is cool about instances, and what you can tell, is if you all make hearts, you can see people across dimensions doing those hearts. So those hearts that are floating out in the middle of nowhere are people in other rooms doing the heart. Do you see that? You see those circles right there? Those are people in the hand.
And that shows up. Give each other ethereal high
There they go. So that's how we can have
interdimensional communication.
Okay,
so thank you for hearting. Yeah, that's why you see. Yeah, go ahead.
Doug, thank you so much. And I'm just one last question. Do you foresee technology advancing rapidly enough that we will be able to accommodate for hundreds or possibly even thousands of avatars in the same place sometime soon, within the next 2 years, 4 years? What do you think, personally?
Well, I think that's one of the all the platforms want to, it's something that's an obsession with everybody. How many people can you get in your space? How many people can, all the platforms is the first thing people ask. And so I think it's sort of where everybody wants to go. But if you think about it, we're all of you all in this room are, what you're saying and what you're doing are coming over my Wi-Fi network into my headset. So it's going to be a lot to track. So they're going to have to use every trick in the book. But I predict that as these headsets get faster, we should be able to expand the room. But I think that instancing is going to be here for a while longer. There'll just be more people in a room, but not to like 1,000 people in a room probably without
Just
instancing.
curious.
Although we have heard there are other platforms that have bad like generic avatars that can fit a lot more people in a room. So there's some tricks we can do. I think we'll
trade off.
Trade off.
Yeah. Interesting.
Voila.
Okay, well, thank you so much for elaborating. I'm sure a lot of us are really curious about what the insiders are saying. And we're actually going to move on to our fabulous DJ Illuminatty. So, Natty, you are one of our all-star avatar DJs who's gigging in VR across multiple platforms like Wave, Sandstar, and here in AltspaceVR. And you are also one of the few DJs that uses TribeXR to spin your music and organize your music. Maybe you can share a little bit with us the technical and creative process for using this unique combination.
Yeah, so when I originally started the events here in Altspace in January, it was a team of 3. Me, Jake, and Alex. We had a broadcast director, and we had a cameraman and a moderator. Actually, no, at the time we did not have a cameraman. Excuse me. We just had the stream from Twitch or Mixer that we used to broadcast into the space. And at the time I was kind of alone, in Tribe mixing, and I could see the Twitch chat. I could see, I could hear some feedback from my teammates in Altspace, but I feel like I was just a little alone. So I figured out that I can actually open TribeXR at the same time as Altspace and, these other apps like Wave and Sansar and Neos. And I can actually DJ while in Altspace, so you can see what my hands are doing, and I can flip back and forth between Tribe and Altspace. So I probably spend about 30% of my time in Altspace, giving shout-outs, giving high fives, and throwing basketball hoops, of course, and then I go back and DJ in Tribe. And once again, I'm in Discord with my team, so that's as people have mentioned before, a really great tool. And between us all, actually, we use 8 RTMP channels. 10 RTMP channels and 8 computers, because we have now added a new team member who does live VJing for us. So when you actually show up to
you
our
guys
event,
are like a machine.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a machine with a lot of moving parts, whereas it started out very simple. And I think that the inspiration behind that was, that interdimensional aspect of like, how can we get more and more and more people into the space? And we found that, there was some interest in Sansar for these types of events, so we added Sansar to the picture, and we added 2 cameras into Altspace, 2 cameras into Sansar, and basically the stream is an amalgamation of me DJing and those 4 views at the same time, so people in Altspace can see people in Sansar and vice versa. And that way we're able to bring people together, and the plan is actually to even add more, hopefully, maybe Wave or Neos. So I just want to spread the same dance party across all multiverses if possible.
Wow.
That's the goal.
I love how you're bridging it. And I want to back up a little bit. So for anyone that's here, TribeXR is a DJ. It's DJ program that you can DJ in VR. But maybe you can tell us a little bit more about how that works.
Yeah, so TribeXR is based off of real Pioneer equipment. It's based off of a DJM 900 mixer and Nexus 2000 CDJs. And basically within 6 hours of trying it, I felt like I really started to get a handle on it without any previous DJ experience. It's only $20 on the Steam and the Oculus store, and you can do it with a Quest. And it's just completely changed my life. I ended up buying a real DJ deck about 6 months later, and I'll be streaming that process live on my channel soon. I feel like I have to revive my Twitch channel now that I'm taking these events a little bit more seriously. And yeah, so it basically is the exact same thing as a real DJ deck that you would find if you went to a club. If you were hired there, that's what you would expect, is that kind of setup. And in fact, I was hired to do a set at a club, and it felt exactly the same. So it's a wonderful program. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. This is such cool information. And then let's see, you also self-broadcast. Are you using OBS?
Yeah, so when I'm just broadcasting my own shows, like if I've been asked to do a show for Evolver or for, Get Social Camp or something like that, I'll just use my Twitch. Maybe I'll put some cool chroma key effects in OBS to create a cool background, and then I'm in the space with you in Altspace and in Tribe at the same time. So that's a little bit more of a simple format, and I feel like that's easier for most people to accomplish. But when it comes to our Thursday shows, it's definitely its own animal, and wouldn't be caught dead without my dream team. They're amazing.
It's great that you have a whole team to do what you do. And so you mentioned Twitch a couple times. So this is your choice to stream onto. Why do you like it so much?
I really personally like Twitch because I really like the community element there. I like going to other people's channels and seeing what's going on. It's just one of those things that I feel like I can chat to somebody and somebody's there and somebody's listening and you can interact with them, and that goes back to, why I love VR so much. I love interaction and I love being interacted with in chat. One of the things I actually forgot to mention about Tribe that's really, really interactive is that you can actually send direct links from YouTube to the deck, so that's another way you can interact. People can request music on the fly, and that's another way how I've learned how to mix. So yeah, I think Twitch is the best way to do that because Tribe is Twitch integrated, first of all, and also I feel that Twitch has been pretty good about not taking down channels, but I don't want to, advise that people post their music if they want to do a music stream. What I would advise you to do is take down your stream, take down the clips, maybe save them for YouTube, put them on later, because YouTube won't mute it, but they won't let you monetize it. Twitch may take away your account. They may mute parts of your video, so it's kind of a good idea to record your videos before you stream or download it right away using Twitch Leecher. That's not, I didn't say that, just kidding.
Very valuable information from an insider. And if there's any DJs or musicians in the crowd, we hope that I'm talking with Maddie a little bit has helped you understand how it works in VR, and we're actually going to thank you so much, Illuminatty, to Kirill.
Hello.
Hello. So we love the IDEATE world and its colorful multiple levels. Can you please share an overview of the structure and the inspirations behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. So full disclosure, I was not one of the artists and I was not one of the builders. But I did reach out to them to see what they wanted to say about it, and I can give some general insights. So the two main artists are both, real-world artists, Sharon DiMattia and Marco Santini. And the design that we chose for the IDEATE structure, we really wanted to push the boundaries. Both of them are really used to working in physical space, and they love the idea that there are no real limits to this virtual space. And we had this idea to do like this massive cylinder where each floor was its own kind of level and it was 100 by 100, and then we could have this huge structure where each level on the inside is different, the outside is different, and it was based largely on the art that Marco Santini creates. He does these really amazing murals and these cool kind of graphics. That's the bottom section. And then Sharon has this really cool art installation that she actually took on the road and traveled all over America, from Reno, where we started, all the way out to Washington, D.C., to the White House, and all over the place. She has these, styrofoam humanoids that each have an emotion on them, and it's an interactive piece. So people will take a marker and write whatever that emotion means to them. And so it's this really cool amalgamation of, concepts and ideas. And we basically recreated that in the virtual reality space. We also had like a jungle floor with different animals. We had some embedded videos playing, and then this really cool ocean kind of thing on the top floor, where we had a clamshell DJ booth and a screen above that. And that's where we had all of our performances. So yeah, it was a really, really cool structure. It really kind of pushed the team, and it kind of started from the art that both those artists created. And we had a few folks on the team who were building this whole thing in Unity, and that kept crashing, and we hit our poly limits, and that kept messing up, and our import didn't work, and we realized we needed some more technical expertise. So we reached out and found, this guy in Europe, I want to say in like Denmark or something. And we found a few other people that were helping us out tremendously with their tech abilities. And in the end, we got the thing rendered, we got it imported, and it was all this big, crazy last minute push. But we built the space, and it's beautiful, and it's still up. So I invite you guys all to come and check it out. But yeah, so we had this space that we created
for the labor of love for the community, for art and celebration. You guys, seriously, that is so much work for the community. Thank you.
And it sounds like Build Week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep going. Anything else we should know about this particular world that was new and unique? Or
yeah, I mean, I'll also mention that it was one of the few worlds that I experienced where flying was actually a critical component of it. So
yeah.
we actually had to put instructions in the beginning, like, hey, here's how you fly. And most worlds, they didn't have that, so people weren't really used to it. So there was a lot of people coming in and being like, I don't understand, like, how do I do this? And then I had to be like, you turn on flying. They're like, oh my God, I'm flying.
Relate to
like,
that
this
one.
is crazy.
So,
and it was fun. Once people kind of get it, then you can fly around the space, really explore. And there were a few challenges that specific space led to, because it wasn't just like one room like this, it was like 5 levels. So we had to make sure that people were getting to the right place and putting the portal in the right place for the different instances for events. It meant that there was a lot of like work that I had to do as like the program manager and event organizer, where every single event that I created, I had to go into the event, make sure the right assets were in the right places, update the portal, test it out myself, have like the rotating portal when you actually go to our world, and that would take you to the active event. So a lot of interesting learnings on the event side from that.
Okay, epic work. Well, thanks for sharing. We're also we're curious about Love Aid. Can you tell us your role in planning and strategies, and any lessons that you learned that can help event producers take on such a project?
Yeah, so Love Aid was pretty obviously our play on Live Aid, the big AIDS benefit concert that happened ages ago. And yeah, we wanted to do this kind of variety show, hey, we want to support Burning Man, as an org. They're struggling this year. And so our goal was to, both in Reno, where we had an installation, the art installation of the humanoids, we did a silent disco there. There was also like this other kind of private party that we live streamed. And then in the virtual world, all of our streams had a little banner on the bottom that said, donate.burningman.org. And, unfortunately, there's no way to actually track how many donations happened. But we thought it would be better to just send people to the org, and hopefully good comes from it, instead of, get our data from it. But yeah, basically, organizing it was a bit of a nightmare. The build team was just so focused on like getting the thing built, and that was like a whole nother journey that I only had a small window into. But as soon as I was like, all right, like I'm taking over this thing, let me figure out how to like do Altspace. I'm sure it's pretty easy. And yeah, it wasn't so easy. There was a lot that I had to learn, a lot of troubleshooting. I mean, honestly, even just the idea of instances and like an event is actually a copy of your world, that still takes me like a minute to wrap my mind around, because if someone goes into your world, they're not in your event. And if someone goes in your event, they're not in another event that's happening. So it was a bit of a nightmare plan. But, you know, huge shout out to the BRCvr team. There was an amazing Discord community where multiple channels of people helping with troubleshooting, and it was like, oh my god, my event is now, the audio's not working, what do I do? And it was like, hey, like use the Kai video player, like he found a workaround for Twitch, or like, oh, use DJ bot, here's like this hacky side, you know, way to do it. So there was a lot of those kind of learnings. In the end, just to give you a glimpse into the window, you know, as the organizer, I had to, you know, create the events, set up all the assets and portals and things, promote the events, and then before the event actually started, I had to go into the event, set up the stream. So I had all the DJs that we had performing send me their sets ahead of time. I thought that would be easier. Was basically the same thing, because I ended up taking that set, which sometimes had visuals, broadcasting it through OBS into YouTube, and then pulling that stream into the media player. And that worked sometimes. YouTube caught on and blocked our account, and so we couldn't go that road. And sometimes it would just crap out, and I had to have DJ bot on standby. So at any point, I had a second instance of Altspace with an avatar flying above with DJ bot, which was for audio.
DJ bot.
Yeah. So DJ bot was the most consistent way to get audio going.
Workaround ever.
Yeah, honestly.
Consistent.
Yeah.
So yeah. We had a DJ bot flying above, we had the media console with YouTube, and then if the media console failed, I put DJ bot on while I loaded Kai's video player, and that could pull in from Twitch, which wasn't blocking content. So I had like OBS streaming to YouTube and Twitch, you know, through Restream, plus DJ bot, so it was like one of 3 different things. And even so, it would sometimes crap out due to latency issues or Altspace. Some of our events hit capacity, and I didn't even think that they would. So, you know, I didn't even think to like ask for the increased capacity or do multiple instances. But a few key learnings I wanted to share before I give the mic to the next person. Be ready for things to fail. Have multiple, you know, people there that are ready to help troubleshoot. You don't want to be the only person flying around trying to do it all. Make your events ahead of time, like weeks ahead of time. Promote them all on Facebook. And then a few just basic things like ensure correct privileges for helpers, double check your spawn points and other objects. And, you know, if you are doing streaming, which is tenuous and somewhat working at best, you know, just know that it might fail, and be ready for that. And also, events need to start on time. This is a general event, 101, but specifically in Altspace, there's a funny thing that happens where, your event is listed at a start time, and people are going to find your event maybe through the events listing, or maybe through your promotion. And if you get like 10 to 15 people in an event, all of a sudden you're bumped to like page 1 of events. And we found that the events where we had like the DJ come with like his friends, or that we did a ton of promotion for, that like we hit that threshold of 10 to 15 people, those got just kind of highlighted in Altspace's events. And then all of a sudden people just started popping in. And that's when we hit capacity. I didn't realize that would happen. But the inverse is also the case, where if you have an event where some people start showing up and like, you're like, hey, sorry, y'all, like we're having some issues, like nothing's really happening. People can be like, this sucks, let's go somewhere else. And they'll leave. And even though, you technically had like 30 people throughout the time, come to the event, they're going to come, they're going to give it like 10 seconds. And if it's not engaging, they'll leave. The next person, same deal. The next person, same deal. And you never hit that like critical mass. So unfortunately, due to some technical issues, some of our events had no one there. And we were playing to an open room, which, it's kind of the nature of Burning Man. It's kind of the nature of the beast. Like that's going to happen. But we did have some really amazing wins where streams were up for hours, and that worked. We had, you know, a DJ come with like his whole crew, and he was like DJing kind of in the clamshell while the video was playing, and we had these live visuals going. It was super fun. We did like one of our performers did a live VJ'd Zoom room party. So while they had like a DJ spinning, they were running that through OBS into a Zoom with people dancing on the Zoom, and then like live projecting that into the stream on YouTube that we were pulling in. And it was super funny, just like seeing people like dancing. Like it was really fun, and that one had a huge engagement too. And they went on a whole tour of Burning Man afterwards, so it was really cool. We had a lot of wins, a lot of key learnings. And the biggest one is have people helping, have a dedicated tech, have a dedicated audio person, start on time. Audio streaming is gonna fail, so come up with a workaround. DJ Bot is the best for audio. And yeah, just have fun with it. Enjoy.
Wow, seriously, so much respect, and also everyone here, anyone here building worlds and creating events can feel a great sense of pride, because you know you guys are really pioneers. This is just really preliminary stages, and you're the first to this amazing technology that is bringing us together in ways that we could have imagined 10 years ago. So really have a lot of pride in what you're doing, and it's so exciting to hear. Thank you so much, Kirill. And we're going to move on to Sterling now. So Sterling, Decadent Oasis is a fabulous, fun playa environment. And maybe you can share with us some lessons learned on using Unity. What would you have done differently? What worked for you?
Boy, well, like anyone here, I'm sure can relate to. It's a learning curve. I mean, even the stuff that's easy, you know, like for example, light baking. I mean,
That's
man,
not easy.
like, yeah, no, exactly. It's easy once you know it, like, you know, or it's easy, you know, like I work in Maya before that, so it's like one of the frustrations that I think was sort of echoed here plenty of times is that, you know, you come in and you're like, yeah, I know how to do this, and then you're like, wow, no, I don't. Like, all this is a lot harder. All this is different. Or I'm actually doing it. Like heck, there was a time, you know, I'd be placing lights and I'd drag it around and see it live updating. You know, I tell it to bake, and then I realized, like, yeah, just the lights aren't being used in the bake solution. You know, like I still don't know why. It was a bug. I was not even saying I fixed. It was just sometimes you just sort of do it and you know do something. You're like, well, this should work, but I have other things to attend to, and you put a pin in it and you come back. So that would be, I guess, one point of advice is like, you know, like I think Cause said, like, don't get too stuck on one thing. A lot of this is kludgy. A lot of this, you know, maybe you're doing something wrong, or maybe you're just hitting a weird bug. But like, don't kill yourself over like getting the perfect light bake. You know, get something that kind of works, and then be like, all right, well, we need to come back to that, but let's, you know, work on getting these textures. Let's work on, you know, getting. You know, there's so many different things. You know, you're playing with all these different, you know, there's so many different variables to work with. And so what I found was there were plenty of time where something was really frustrating because it was like, I know how to do this already. I've done this for years, and it's not working. And I've spent hours trying to get a thing that should be absolutely trivial to work. But you know, now gladly, I think you know, things seem to be pretty, you know, or some wood to knock on, but you know, you know, the basics seem to be pretty under control after that first sort of frantic week of, you know, learning it and then troubleshooting as well. So you know, now I find, you know, I think it's really exciting to be able to go forward from this with, you know, a bit of a more robust toolkit. But, you know, there's always going to be new challenges and issues, but
We're also very interested to learn more about the musical aspects of your camp and how you go about booking talent.
boy, talk about like a build it and they will come moment. Like I was sort of saying in my introduction, like you know, it can be hard to be creative when you don't have a direction to go, and you know, and just you can't, you know, I mean, I endeavor to be, you know, we all, you know, it's hard to make stuff if you don't have a goal. So I, you know, first of all, didn't realize the capabilities of Altspace, but also, you know, yeah, it was when I saw Cause at the party and, you know, saw this, you know, everything that could be done. It was like, all right, I gotta make something. So I kind of made a world. I dropped in some existing 3D models. I was playing with some tilt brush stuff. And that's when, I sent an email out to my camp and was like, hey, does anyone have a map from camp? Like, would it be cool if I built the camp? Like, hey, why not? And I built it out. And then all of a sudden, these different people are like, hey, let's throw an event. Let's play some music. And, really, I hadn't thought about that yet because in this sort of build week frenzy, I was just trying to get freaking light making to work or, a million other things. Like I was just trying to build the damn world because I wanted to build something. And then all of a sudden I kind of picked my head up and people are like, hey, let's have a party in here. And it's just like, yes, let's. And I really hope that Altspace gets a bit more robust with the media console. I think that would be really, the multimedia console seems like the best approach when it works, especially with the sound fall off. I know that one goal of a lot of people I've been talking to is if you could do a multi-stage event, and granted that would have, the world limit issues, but because you can do the sound fall off, with enough bandwidth or just robustness in the Altspace system, it'd be great to have multiple screens and you can actually kind of go between areas in one world. Right now, that does not work. I was trying, that's not, no bueno. But like Kirill said, DJ Bot is sort of the best hack to make it really work. So I've found that I tend to put on a mute Twitch stream and then a DJ Bot for audio, and that seems to be the most sort of best. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's the best for the most people, and really hope that at some point Altspace just makes the multimedia console really robust, because it would be great if we could just kind of rely on that a bit more. But yeah, DJ Bot plus multimedia console, and it was a build and they will come. It's just been so cool, sort of hosting events and seeing people's response to it. I mean, even my campmates, some of them were joining on laptops, which is a terrible experience next to VR. But even then, they were so enthusiastic about it and so encouraging about it that it was like, wow, it's neat to see. It's just, like I said, I've been sort of a VR geek for a while, but it's been a very slow gestation. It's really neat to see what everyone's been building and how we all came together as builders. But even more gratifying when you see the enthusiasm of people coming in and that this is actually becoming a real thing. And, COVID certainly is helping, but, we're finally at this moment where we can have a room of dozens of people and you can build a space and you can share a space. And, even friends on laptops were coming in and going, hey, wow, we should do this instead of our Zoom get-togethers. Even though I don't see you, like, it still feels somehow more present and more real in this strange way, even though it's not video. It's counterintuitive, but I think it's true. And so yeah, I'm just so glad that we're building spaces, getting music in. I hope Altspace I'm so glad Microsoft saved them a few years ago. I thought they were about to be nothing.
Such a great thing.
Yeah, that was but yeah, I hope we can keep developing and making the audio options easier and more robust. But yeah, when I'm not throwing an event, sometimes I just throw, like during Burn Week when we're doing something, I just had a playlist of 5 days of mixes and just was running DJ Bot 24/7 all week. It was great, and it didn't even crack.
Sterling, this has been amazing information, and I'm sure everyone here feels very beneficial. We're actually a few minutes over, and we're pushing it a bit, so we're going to wrap it up, but we want to give so much respect. Everyone, give it up. Show your emojis for our fantastic panel speakers. There's so much information, such a gift to the community, and really, we're also happy to be here. So proud of everyone that's been involved. And I don't know, maybe we should do a big group hug.
Sideways.
Yeah,
Like hands across America style.
Let's like group
It's like the whole.
I don't actually have any
Hey,
hands.
friends.
Wow. Get the cameraman up in here. What are we doing? Like spaces, this is crazy. What's up, guys?
It's kind of
I feel like we made it.
This is wild.
Just polygons everywhere.
Can we just have a world that's just full of avatars and you just walk through all the avatars? That's the whole world.
Yeah, that's.
Hey guys,
Sounds like
this is Julian. Thanks so much for attending. One last final plug. Sterling and I are working on an event October 23rd with a collective called Unison, and we're going to be doing something there. So ask us about it later. And thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julian.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
thanks,
Thank you,
thanks
Celeste.
for setting this up. This is
Yeah,
so
man.
Got
cool.
it. You got it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Everybody.
Much love. Much love.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Did anybody get photos from here? I totally
Super
forgot to take
fun.
photos of all the
I
audience
have one
throwing up
with
emojis
everybody.
and stuff.
I did.
Yeah, I got one.
Remember
Alright,
to
alright,
take
cool.
off
That's a fun
your
one.
phone.
Cause I took some too.
Cool,
That
cool.
was terrific. Celestial Spirit.
Hey,
That was really
mwah.
terrific. Yeah.